mother. Until I have done
that which I have spoken to thee of.
That which I have spoken to thee of. Now, let me just pause right here and say this. You got God that's saying, I will, I shall, I will, you shall have, I will be, you shall get, you shall not lack, and I shall take you, and your seed shall be. These are things that God is saying, I am going to do for you. And then he said, and I'm not going to leave you until I have done all that I have said that I would do. Now, watch this. You got Abraham knowing God. And then you got Abraham passing God to Isaac. Watch this. Then you got, though he was deceived, Isaac blessing and passing God to Jacob. But then you got Jacob, whose spirit can't pass God to nobody. So he says here, I shall. Now I want you to pay attention to this. Whenever God starts saying that I will and I shall, that means under condition. By the time I get through with you. See, Jacob started dancing and shouting, oh, I will and I shall. But watch what happens right after God said this to Jacob. His spirit, watch this. Now, one thing about God, when God shows up and gives us a divine visitation, we always say, honey, I saw angels. Child, let me tell you what God said to me. Girl, I was in the spirit, and I saw God, honey, and he just touched my heart. I'm telling you, I just had a wonderful experience with God. But what God did after this, he showed up with Jacob and turned around, and right after the presence of God had hovered over Jacob, that Spirit of God caused the wickedness that was in Jacob to begin to surface. So right after that, Jacob goes to work for Laban and said, well, I done seen Rachel, and I want Rachel. And then after Rachel, he said, well, this is the woman I want. And Laban said, okay, you work for me 7 years, you get Rachel. And he worked for him 7 years. Y'all know the story. And he got Leah, and he didn't want Leah. And then Laban said, you want to work for me again? Because by then he was reaping what he sowed. You know, he had to reap that thing. Like many of us said, well, where's my blessing? God said, no, you got to reap first. You got to reap what you sow first. And he started saying, well, you know what? Well, okay, I'll work for Laban for another 7 years. Then after that, he started acting all crooked, and he started messing around and mixing up all the animals and started stealing all Laban's stuff. And I'm going to tell you, the spirit of transference is really powerful. Because after he married Rachel, he started lying and scheming, and she robbed him from her own daddy, and then turned around telling a lie. Then he got on down the road. Watch this now. And he gives birth to Joseph. And Joseph means may he add. So the church right now is stuck in the spirit of that Joseph. Well, look at what I got. The Lord, and the Bible said after he had Joseph, his riches increased. And that's the deception. Because watch this. Because in your undisciplined and your unpurged state of mind, oh God, this is not going to be as easy as I thought here. You know, underneath all of the cloak, there are deceptive things about us that don't nobody know about. And so while God is allowing us to get things, the real us is not being seen. Oh, I'm going somewhere with this. Real lust is not seen yet. And many of us even tonight we say, well, you know, let me just say this right here. But this really ain't the kind of thing that you see. And once somebody told me that I just came to Azusa because I'm looking for my breakthrough. I'm looking for my breakthrough. Well, I'm gonna say something. You can't. And God said this to me. You can't break past. You can't break past the mess that your character is in. And see, you can't keep looking over that. Okay, I'm gonna get there. See, because some of y'all think that doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't matter that my spirit is ugly. It doesn't matter that I lie and I gossip. It doesn't matter that I came down here looking for a husband. It doesn't matter that my motives are not right. It doesn't matter that when I get dressed for church, my mind is not really on Jesus. It doesn't matter that I'm not in the center of God's will. Many of you sitting here tonight and God has called you and you got a ministry on your life, and it doesn't matter to you that you haven't said yes to God yet. It doesn't matter that I'm singing in the choir and I should be preaching. It doesn't matter that I'm a singer and I should be an evangelist. It doesn't matter that I'm an evangelist and I'm only supposed to be an usher. Oh God. It doesn't matter that I'm pastoring and God ain't never called me to do that. It doesn't matter that God started breaking me in one ministry and I got mad about my breaking and jumped up and left and went and joined another ministry and didn't want to come to a conference and say, I'm looking for a breakthrough. The devil is a lie. God ain't going to bring you here and let you get a breakthrough and you're not submitted to leadership and you're not submitted to authority. Y'all ain't going to like me tonight, and I already know that. But God is saying, you got to be broken. God, I thank you, Jesus. Well, I'm submitted. Well, then what is submission? You're not really submitted until you're doing something that you don't want to do. See, a lot of you all, God, I got to say this, a lot of you all in here tonight are being pastored by permission. You are allowing them to pastor you. Well, I agree with that, so I'll sit in your ministry. Okay, I agree with that. I'll stay here. Okay, that's fine with me. I don't have a problem with that. Okay, I agree with that. I agree with that. The minute pastor says, I want to do that, I just don't quite agree with that. And that don't jive with my spirit. And I'm just troubled about something. And I know what you troubled about is that every time the man of God get close enough to actually cause your demons to manifest, then all of a sudden God ain't calling you. I'm going to teach this tonight. Now, we ain't flying high tonight. No. We're going to sit here tonight. Yeah, we're going to sit here tonight because a lot of us have wild anointings. They're not. Okay, first of all, who is your checker? Who checks your stuff? All this I sense the Holy Ghost. Who checks that? Who is the person that God has designed to be in your life that can tell you that's not God, that don't look like God? I don't think God is saying that. Who is your checker in the spirit? Jacob. Now watch this, y'all. Jacob did not have a checker. And you know what I think is strange today? How people say the minute it's time for them to walk under the spirit of accountability, then God calling me to pastor. I think I've just outgrown this ministry. Devil, you a lie. You ain't outgrown nothing. Because your spiritual father will always be your spiritual father. but I just think that this is what God ain't calling me. And you know what? When Jacob got to the point, now watch this, like many of us say, well, I don't think well, you know what? I just don't agree. And that ain't what the Spirit told me, because watch this Spirit right here. I had a dream. And then watch this. When Laban checked him and put him in check about the way he handled his daughters and the way he handled his cattle and all of that, you know what he started saying? Well, you know, you don't know that what the Lord